Welcome back to another episode, I guess you'd call it, of Wade Looker Agronomy. We are going to go through a corn plot. So let's go take some notes and do some scouting and see what we can find. We are in hybrid number 1. This is a new 99 day, 99M. And we are cruising through pollination here. Let's pop one of these ears open. We're starting to see some brown silks appearing. If I were spraying fungicide, I'd be wanting to get this done pretty quick before this gets crispy. As we go down through, right before we pop that ear open, we're going to go down through the canopy. I don't see any firing up on the leaves down low here, which is good to see. Let's see. Very little disease. There's a gray leaf spot lesion right there. See how it's rectangular and block-like, doesn't cross any of the leaf veins. That right there is going to be a gray leaf spot, but really this is awfully clean. This has not been sprayed with a fungicide yet. Another small gray leaf spot lesion. Let's pull one of these ears open and see what it looks like. We have got a very long, slender type of ear. Let's see, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. So about 43 to right there. I don't normally count the very tip, just in case it tipped back, and I don't count a few on the bottom just for error. So around 43 around, and we're gonna be, let's see, let me count these real quick. All right, so this was 16 around. So if we do just a little bit of basic math, this is great TV here, folks, isn't it? Okay. If we do some basic math, we're 43 long times 16 around, gives us 688 kernels. Let's say this was planted like 32, 34. We'll be conservative and say that there's 30,000 ears out here per acre. That gives us about 20 million kernels per acre. And we're going to say that it's an 80,000 kernel per bushel. We're looking at 258 bushel corn. Now, is this going to be 258 bushel corn? I don't know, perhaps. Seems unlikely though. We're probably looking at a scenario here where that ear's probably not representative of everything out here. Let's say it's close though. Let's say it's reasonably close. We're still looking at some 200 plus bushel corn here pretty conservatively. Kernel counts and stuff, I don't really like doing them that much just because there's so much error, right? And so I said that there's 30,000 ears that are exactly like that one out here. Is that representative? I don't know. I said that there's 80,000 kernels per bushel with this hybrid. Is that an accurate number? I don't know. So like there's a lot of guesswork that goes into kernel counts, but it does give you kind of a directional thing. Like, is this good corn? Is this maybe not so good corn? And in this situation, I do think this is pretty good corn. So 99M, good yield potential, and very healthy, very little disease out here. So liking what I see. Standing here in a really good 101 day corn. This is 01U74. This is a above ground only trait version, and so let's do a little bit of scouting on this one. One of the things that I look for is the ear uniformity, particular where on the plant it resides. So something that I really like about what this one's doing right now is this ear, this ear, this ear, that ear, and that ear down there are all at the exact same spot on the plant. So I really like that uniformity. Hybrids that do that tend to have very good ear to ear uniformity. And that's really important because those runt ears really do bring down your yield quite a bit. In addition to the hybrid's ability to do that, the planter makes a big deal too, because if you're getting uniform planting depth, if you're putting those seeds in uniform areas within the trench, you're going to see more uniform emergence and more uniform ears here at the end. So I really like what this hybrid is doing, and also the planter performance was really good here too. Much like the 99 day that we just left, we are starting to see a little bit more of these brown silk colors. meaning that this pollination window is just about closed. Being this is one of the earliest RMs in the plot, you know, I'm not too worried about getting this sprayed quite yet. I think the drone was supposed to be here either later this week or beginning of next week, and I think that'll be ample, especially with the limited disease pressure that we're seeing. So why don't we take just a second and we'll look at some of the disease pressure here. So once again, looking down the row here, these bottom leaves are all very healthy, really all the way to the bottom. Our very bottom leaves are a little bit necrotic from where they've sloughed off. That's normal, but these bottom leaves really aren't showing much sign of there might be a little bit of nitrogen loss down there, some flashing down there, but really these are pretty healthy plants. I'm not seeing hardly any disease. I would really like, there's one gray leaf spot lesion. I'd really like to be able to find some tar spot or northern that I could show you guys, but right now things are looking awfully clean. So this may wind up being kind of a boring video if I can't find any disease to show you guys. There, I found one. Yippee. Okay, so this is northern corn leaf blight. This is a northern corn leaf blight lesion. You can see how it's tapered on either end. It has like a cigar type shape, which is very characteristic of this disease. And it does cross those interveinal leaf veins. So it's different than gray leaf spot in that it's not blocky, it's tapered on either end, and it does cross leaf veins. This one is going to be a little bit more yield limiting than gray leaf spot as well. So not surprised that we're finding it. It's the time of year, especially with all this late planted corn, but certainly not something that you like to see. Again, this is the first ear that I pulled back here. It was ear one in our kind of row of standardized ears here. And what we're seeing is very similar to the other one. So this one was 18 around and 43 long. Again, I went to right around in there. We're going to count those as bonus kernels if we get them. If they abort off, no big deal. But there's a lot of yield potential here with this. So actually getting pretty optimistic about the potential yield here with this one. All right, it is so hot and humid that my phone is telling me that it's going to shut down because it's too hot. So we'll see how far we can go with this. Maybe we'll have to come back on another day and finish this video out. Anyway, we are into a new 104 day 04M from Golden Harvest. So let's take a look. Seeing just slightly more disease with this one with gray leaf spot. It's still not anything to be totally concerned about, but yeah, there's just a slightly larger amount of disease with this hybrid. Probably a little bit more ear bounce with it too, as far as having an ear down here and one kind of up there. So there's just a little bit more ear bounce. Doesn't mean this is going to be a bad hybrid by any stretch. It's just I'm seeing a little bit more of that ear bounce. Could have been these individual rows on the planter as well. Let's take a look at the ears. This ear I pulled from right there. We got 16 by 38. So again, very, very similar to the other ears that we've seen here. It'll be very interesting to see how well all of these stack up with one another. This one isn't near as far along with pollination as the others were. And so a lot of these kernels are still left to be determined. I counted up into this area. So again, these could all be bonus kernels if it wants to fill out. Yeah, overall, again, it's another hybrid that I think looks pretty good. Awfully clean for disease considering the year that we've had. And yeah, the plant architecture, plant type of it looks really nice. And overall, again, another hybrid looks pretty good here in the plot. Jumped up here to G08UOO-V. This is a VIPERA hybrid. I think VIPERA is going to be pretty big this year because I've already heard reports of corn earworm down south and seen some western bean cutworm eggs here in Ohio. And so that'll be nice to have for both of those pests. In any case, this has been one of my favorite hybrids. This is a very healthy hybrid. Again, like a little bit of gray leaf spot, but this one is super good on tar spot in particular. As temperatures cool off later this week, I think that we're going to be primed up for some tar spot here this year. We've got ample moisture, lots of humidity, really going to be prime breeding ground for tar spot once these temps cool off. So I think that'll be a nice advantage for this hybrid here. So this ear here is looking to be 18 by around 40 long. I I'd have to look back. I think this was planted at 34,000. So conservatively, if this is, again, a representative ear, and let's say we have 30,000 of them out there, just being very, again, very cautious with our kernel count stuff. Let's do the math. So we got 18 by 40, we'll call it. 720 kernels per ear. Let's say that there's 30,000 of those ears out here. That gives us 21,600,000 kernels per acre. We're going to divide that by 80,000. Again, this one's a fairly average, normal kernel size type hybrid. It's not something that's small. We're looking at, 270 bushel corn. Now, again, will it be that? I hope so. I have my doubts that it'll be that high. We have had 270 bushel entries in this plot before, so it wouldn't be totally out of the realm of the possibility. But yeah, that would be pretty great corn for here, Central Ohio, just west of really where the Appalachian foothills begin. Next hybrid that we're looking at here is G10U97. This one is also a VIPERA hybrid. Seeing just a little bit more disease pressure in this one. A little bit of gray leaf spot here on some of the lower leaves. I did see a couple northern corn leaf blight lesions further back. We'll see if we can find you one here to show you. Of course, anytime you're looking for it, you can't find it. We'll find one here in a minute and I'll show you. This is one that was really interesting to me last year. First of all, let's look again at this uniformity of ear placement. We got bang, 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 bang. Like it's the same node on the plant the whole way down. So again, that shows the level of consistency with the hybrid. And again, oftentimes when hybrids have this level of consistency in the earring, that's gonna mean that they can go on droughty acres, poorly drained acres, highly productive acres, just really broadly adapted type hybrid. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about this. Was a new launch last year. We kind of thought it was going to be capped on yield potential a little bit, be more for that stress acre, that workhorse acre, that highly variable acre. And this one really delivered on yield too. We have really high yielding products like G10L16 and G10B61. And this one was right there with both of them and actually beat them on average in the plots last year. And so the excitement level for me for this one's very high, because if I can have very competitive top end yield with a product while also bringing just tremendous agronomics and ease of use, ease of placement, that's a huge win. That's a huge win for guys. So yeah, I'm hoping that this one replicates that performance from last year. I planted quite a bit of this on our farm this year. So kind of putting my money where my mouth is on that. So very optimistic. And again, let's take a look at some of these ears. Oh, but first I did find a northern corn leaf blight lesion that I can show you. Here's the lesion. It's on the back side of the leaf, actually right above the ear. So this is the most concerning piece of disease that I've found so far. It's the furthest up in the canopy that I've found. So again, I'm going to be glad that we're going to be getting this sprayed with Miravis Neo sometime in the next couple days. That way we can slow down that disease progression for a while and really help with grain fill. Once again here, we are looking at another good ear I pulled from right there. So again, in this lineup of very consistent ears, didn't want to pull, like this one's a little bit more filled out. Thought maybe that one was just an outlier on the large side, so we didn't want to pull that one. That one here looks like it might be just a day or two behind, so didn't want to pull that one as an outlier on the bottom side. I think this one's fairly representative. And we're looking at 18 by like 36. So again, really good potential here. I am big. I'll flip the screen. So I am big on late season management with corn. I think that once you spray fungicide and you kind of forget about it, I'm not totally sure that's exactly the way that we should be doing it. I do like delaying that fungicide pass a little bit. So let me outline why moving forward. This week, it's super, super hot today. It's like 90 degrees, 90% humidity, super hot today. But starting tomorrow, things are really going to cool off. We're looking at lows, overnight lows in the 50s with daytime highs up in the mid to upper 70s. So really mild conditions, which is going to be great for pollination. We're going to have really low stress for pollination. Usually when you're spraying a tassel application of fungicide, you're trying to reduce the amount of stress that's going on that plant, just to help mitigate that stress so that it pollinates better. Given the fact that we're going to have low stress because of the advantageous weather, I don't feel the need that I have to rush out and make sure this gets sprayed immediately. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delay this again a few days, probably into the beginning of next week, and then we're going to get it sprayed. That way it gives me those last few days of residual to help protect me from late season tar spot or late season northern corn leaf blight or something like that, because I want these kernels to be fat. If you can gain another 10,000 kernels per bushel, that is real yield, folks. That's like, I mean, you could be looking at 50 bushels an acre depending on your kernel count to begin with. So huge deal to make those kernels as large as possible. That's why I'm so big on late season management. And that's why we have a product like this, where it's 18 by 36. That's a great starting point, but that's a big factory that we can flex even larger. So you get that factory built, that baseline built with a lot of kernels, and then you make those kernels big, boom, that's when you can really see a big jump in overall yield. Next one up is 10M87. This is one that we are thinking is going to have a lot of top end yield potential. So let's have a look at some of the agronomics. I am seeing a little bit more northern corn leaf blight. Got one here, got one starting there, got one starting here. And so that's 3 lesions on one leaf. That's getting to be enough where I really want to get this sprayed. Overall though, outside of those few lesions, there's a little bit of gray leaf spot down here, which again, you're going to see in basically every single field. It's not bad. I'm not seeing any tar spot, not seeing any rusts. We're a little far north for southern rust, but I have been hearing reports that it's starting to creep up a little bit further north into Illinois. So it's something that we're going to have to be cognizant of here in southern Ohio in the I-70 corridor, probably by the end of the year. Ears are, again, pretty uniform in placement, which I like to see. We're going to peel one of these back and we'll have a look. So seeing something, again, very similar to everything else that we've been seeing. This one was 16 around by about 36, 37 long, depending on how far up this point you want to go. We are a long way from being done with pollination here. We're not seeing any of those brown silks at all. So this one is going to be pollinating in those really nice, cool, advantageous times here over the course of the next week. So really excited about that. We are going to see about this one, but it looks pretty good here. Again, a little bit of northern corn leaf blight in it, maybe a little bit more than I would really like to see. But overall, we do see good plant health with it. So we'll get this sprayed with a fungicide and see how much it can yield here in the fall. By the way, this 10M87 is a pretty tall plant. So we're probably looking at, definitely over 10 foot tall. Not crazy tall like some silage corns are, but this one is a taller hybrid. All right, now let's go dive into what's kind of been my baby the past few years. All right, we are standing in one of my favorite hybrids. This is G11V76. It's the AA trait version, and it is the one that I affectionately call the Cleveland Browns corn. The reason that I call it the Cleveland Browns corn isn't because it's bad. It's the exact opposite. This corn is so good and so stable and so consistent that not even the Cleveland Browns could screw it up. So that's why I like it so much. Let's have a look at some of the characteristics that I really like about it. First of all, this is a very healthy corn. We do get gray leaf spot, much like every other field that you're going to find. It'll get a little bit of tar spot here and there, and it'll get a little bit of northern corn leaf blight here and there. If I can find any, I'll show you. You guys let me know if you can spot some. But for the most part, I am really just not seeing any. Right here, here's one. There's one northern corn leaf blight lesion. Once again, tapered on both ends, and it does cross the leaf veins there in the leaf. So easy to tell that way. Let's take a look at the ear uniformity. This is something that this hybrid does extremely well. So as far as you can see down this row here, all of these ears are in the exact same place. So a super, super uniform type of hybrid. Once again, uniformity means that there's hidden yield there. Not every ear has to be this gigantic monster. But if every one of them is 16 by 35 and you get 75,000 kernels per bushel because they're big kernels and it's a little cob, you'll wind up with a whole bunch of corn in your combine and in your grain bin at the end of the year. Uniformity is one of the hidden things that people don't spend enough time looking at. Yeah, it's super cool to pick those baseball bat ears off the end. I do that for a little bit of show and tell at our field days, but the nuts and bolts of how you achieve high yields are right here in the uniformity from ear to ear. So what we're looking at here is a representative ear. This is 16 by 34. And you guys are probably going to say, but wait, that's the smallest ear that you've pulled out of anything yet so far on the plot. And it is. But again, if every single one of these are good at 16 by 34 to 36, something like that, and we have a whole bunch of them, let's say that there's 32,000 of them that are just like this out here. I planted it at 34. If there's 32,000 of them out here that are just like this, then we are looking at really good corn. This one has a very small cob, so we are looking at that very likely sub 80,000 kernels per bushel mark. Probably 75 to 70 on this. There's a lot of corn that's going to be out here, even though this ear isn't super duper impressive. You guys just have to trust me that this one does yield. Just jumped into a new product here. This is G12U11. This is an AA, above ground only trait package here with this one. 112-day corn. We're starting to push up on the RM for this plot. This is my go-to high yield corn. This is a very highly productive, go for it, top end yield type of corn. My guys that are doing the National Corn Growers Contest, this is the one that we choose. It is a big tall corn, jumps out of the ground, grows real fast, big ear flex. We'll dive into the ears here in just a minute. It'll get some gray leaf spot once again. It'll get some northern from time to time. I did see, let's see if we can find some here. I did see, yeah, here we go. Some rust. We're starting to see some rust here. This is not tar spot and it is not southern rust. This is going to be common rust. It's on the top and the bottom of the leaf, as you can see. It is a darker, more like brick red type of color versus southern rust, which is commonly just on the top part of the leaf, and that's more of an orange type of color. It's the first rust that I've seen in this plot. At those levels, it is not a worrisome or concerning amount, so not too worried about that there. So overall, again, pretty healthy plant. Our very bottom leaves that are sloughing off are a little bit yellow, but that's what you're going to expect to see with leaves that are sloughing off the bottom. The rest of them are looking pretty good. Let's check out the ear that we have here. So looking at this ear here, this one was actually 18 by 41. So maybe I had some selection bias with it, but all of these are looking pretty solid. So 18 by 41, planted at, let's do the math here, 18 by 41, planted at 34. Let's say that there's 30,000 of them. Again, we're going to be conservative and say that we lost, 4,000. So let's do the math. 18 times 41 equals that, times 30,000 of those out here, divided by 80,000 kernels per bushel. Again, we're looking at awfully good corn. Even if it's anywhere in that range, we're going to be pretty happy with that here this fall. So yeah, once again, a real winner of a hybrid here. This is our #1 forecasted corn moving forward, which is no surprise considering how good it's looked over the past 2 years. The last one that we're going to jump in here and check out, this is a 112-day corn. This is G12S75. This is the one that I affectionately call the father-in-law corn, because this is the one that I put on my father-in-law when I started here a few years ago. So let's go check it out. So G12S75, why do I like it so much? Well, one, it is extremely healthy. It stands super, super well. It is good on gray leaf spot, northern, and especially tar spot. We've had some absolute dynamite, just killer side-by-sides with this product versus competitive products in the past. And on that tar spot acre, it's just remarkable. It does very, very, very well. It brings outstanding top end yield potential. We've been very competitive in the National Corn Growers Contest with this corn before. This is also one of them that tends to be one of the best in regards to vomitoxin as well. With the Ohio State vomitoxin study, this one has been near the top 2 years in a row. So really good production there. However, corn can't just look good, it has to be good. It has to produce bushels. So let's take a look at the rest of the story here with the G12S75. Once again, we have that nice ear uniformity from this one to that one to that one to that one and that one. So really nice uniformity here once again. You guys have heard my song and dance about why that is so important. So let's have a look at the ears. So this one individual here has been the smallest ear that I've pulled all day, and that would be obviously indicative after I've told you that it's like my favorite hybrid, so that's just the way it goes. But this one's going to be, it's 14 around, and we're around 39 to 40 long. So let's run our math, and we'll see what the reduction of 2 rows around means on our top end yield potential. So let's do our math again. We were 14 by, we'll call it 39. We're going to multiply that by our 30,000 number. We're going to divide that by 80,000. And holy smokes, guys, we're down to 204.75. Those 2 rows around mean a lot. Now, here's the thing. Is that representative of every one of them out here? I don't know. How could you know? You don't walk through and take a hand-picked, representative sample. Even if you're going through and trying to pick every third ear or something, it's really hard to get something that's very, very representative. And this is why kernel counts are at best directional. They are directional because it's really hard to know what your selection bias is when you're selecting ears. And then that last number, what you divide by, kernels per bushel, that is extremely influential to your end yield number when the combine goes through. And so picking 75 or 80 or 90, like all those numbers really do matter. And so long story short, I don't expect this one to get beat by 70 bushels. Will it win the plot? Maybe not. It's been a really good one for a long time, and we should start to see some genetic gain that beats it. But again, I don't think it's going to lose by 50 to 70 bushels either. So going to be really interesting to see how this plot does once we get to the end. I'm sure I'll do another one of these, hopefully when it's cooler and ears are a little bit more developed and we can see more. And we can start to see some more disease separation and stuff too. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share the channel if you're into this sort of agronomy thing. We will catch you again on the next one. Thanks. Hey, last thing I'll say, shout out to Certain herbicide. It really did well here. I'm standing here in a gap where there is no corn to shade anything out. And like there's a couple grasses that probably got missed. But I'm telling you, this is very, very clean. So shout out to Certain herbicide. Stuff worked really well here.